tighter. That's good.
So if you stand as you're able for our opening song. I am Reverend Carolyn Harvill, and this is the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, and we welcome each of you. Some of you, we've seen your faces a few times, and some of you we haven't. So, but know that all are welcome, and that this is our opportunity to share with each other, to share our love, to share our support, to share our knowledge, and to share our encouragement for the lives that we want to live. And so we open with a prayer. There it goes. As we light our candle, we take a moment to bring our attention to Spirit, to the One, to the wholeness, the I am, the love, the comfort, the wisdom, the clarity. All of those things and so much more is Spirit. And we are, each and every one of us, part of that. We too are part of the great whole. And so the things that the Spirit, the attributes of Spirit, are our attributes as well. And we can call them forth as we need them and as we are ready to receive them. And so this morning, I speak my word for each of us, that we bring with us an openness to receive the blessings of Spirit, that we bring to this time a willingness to learn and grow. And we bring to this time a deep support and love for everyone in this room. For this is sacred time because we have called it so. And now we let it be, knowing that it is done. And together we seal it with the words, and so it is. Okay. Gordon, I believe you're up.
Weekly announcements featuring Gordy. Oh, get more behind this. That's right. Now we're okay. This is just like my puppies, in the morning. They don't want to do quite what I asked them to. Okay, where are we going? Okay, here we go. Puppies and kitties. Now, in this slide, we can see how the cornered cat has seemed to suddenly grow bigger. Trickery, trickery, trickery. Okay. practitioner of the day, Pat Ferguson. Pat.
Yay,
And
Pat.
Pat, you can be back over here, or, oh, shower. A shower stall, right?
In the shower.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Meet you in the
Next.
shower. For
July
prayer
is-
support.
Pardon?
I was just clarifying for people who are new that that's all about for personal prayer support.
Yes,
Okay.
it's not real, it's a non-active shower.
Okay, non-active shower. The water was used in that commercial.
For private.
Okay. July's affirmation. Life is not about learning to find my power. It's about learning to wield the power I already have. Yes.
Hot diggity.
Tell your story. Okay, what is the story today? What brought you here? How'd you get here? Anybody come over the bridge? Everybody came over the bridge.
Hello, everybody.
No story there.
No bridge.
No bridge. No bridge, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. No bridge. Tick tock.
Trying to think how to tell it.
Okay.
All right, I'll tell a quick story.
Okay.
Cool. It's about my hair. I love to know
Would you spell that, please?
that my hair's always been my crowning glory. And about 2 months ago, it started thinning out. And you put your hand up here and you can have a handful of hair. So I went to my primary doctor and she tested for the, what's the word for when your hair's going to all come out? Alopecia or something like that? Say it. Alopecia.
Yeah.
Didn't have that. But I did have a little stress in my life at the time. So I thought that could have been it. And recently, I find myself in a much more peaceful place. That whatever is moving forward for me and for Rick is in divine right order, and it's going the right direction. And I'm grounded. And lo and behold, a week and a half ago, my hair started seeming like it wasn't falling out anymore. And that manifestation, I am so grateful for. Thank you, thank you, thank you, hair, for knowing it was over. Hey!
Very good. Well, I'm not going to follow that.
Don't talk about hair.
I'm going to talk about hair. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us if your socks are for prosperity?
Well, I thought you'd never ask. Yeah. No, in fact, I was thinking, how can I make a joke out of this? Well, it's just a joke, you know.
Which one is
I
the
show
right
up here
one?
at church and there I am in socks that don't match.
Which one is not the right one, and which one's the right one, which one's the correct one?
Well, I know. Well, that's what I was thinking. That's a joke in and of itself, right? Because it's kind of like they're both correct
Oh, of course they are.
when they're not on my feet. There is the right sock, right? It's only when I try to put them on that we've got some problems. So,
Did you do it on purpose?
I did it on purpose. That's it. I did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that's, my time is up.
We're going to mix it up today. Instead of reading, I found a video, a speaking video, that spoke to me, and I thought it would be an absolutely perfect way to speak to you this morning. So Vernon's good. We've not done this before. Vernon has set this all up so that it'll work because we don't have the perfect situation here. So here we go.
I pledge allegiance to breaking the self-imposed barriers of my humanness. I recognize that my time on this planet is precious and limited. Every day is a canvas on which I can create. Every day is an opportunity for me to move in the direction of the dreams and the expanded vision I feel inside. By setting aside petty grievances, past mistakes, righteous anger, and my broken story, I pledge to move forward and embrace the experience of freedom right here and right now. I pledge allegiance to the expression of my spiritual honesty. I fully own the fact that my presence here in this body and on this earth is a celebration of uniqueness and importance. Creation makes no mistakes. I am a creation of life, of a higher power, of perfection. My reason for being here matters in the grand divine plan. I must be honest with my contract of life and walk the path of my destiny with conviction, purpose, and grace. I pledge allegiance to the quiet soldier within. I understand that the championing spirit that is already cellularly alive inside of me, that was already in place at the time of my birth, waits patiently for my current belief about myself to join it in its knowing. I march forward towards a history of my own making, wisely, lovingly choosing the means by which I spread my beliefs and convictions. I never make others wrong for their chosen path, for I recognize the innumerable roads that lead to the one. I pledge allegiance to a partnership with divinity. I choose to see others and myself from eyes that already view the wholeness and perfection within. I do not entertain our past damage or encourage us to identify with it, for I trust that a grander calling card has been printed for us to distribute in promoting our lives. I champion all of us to celebrate what is working rather than what isn't. I pledge allegiance to wise discernment, knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet, knowing when to comfort and when to leave alone, knowing when to intervene and when to avoid rescuing and interfering. I pledge allegiance to people and projects of substance. I cannot travel this road alone. If there is anything we need as a species, it is each other. I actively choose to support those whose work I believe in with my time, talent, and treasure. I joyously give to those whose intention and purpose is for self-empowerment and the awakening of humanity to its personal magnificence. I rally to make others aware of such light bearers and do what I can to support them in furthering their vision. I pledge allegiance to the freedom from comparison. I once and for all lay down my wearisome, stale beliefs of unworthiness and not being good enough. I know that my past does not define who I am. I am forever evolving, growing, and learning. I recognize that I am a marvel. I now choose opportunities to let my voice be heard, to let my light shatter the darkness of futility so that every personal dream is explored. I pledge allegiance in knowing that things are not always as they seem. Just because something can't be seen with the physical eye or rationalized by our current mode of understanding does not negate its existence. Understanding the difference between reality and illusion, I move into a fuller acceptance of the non-physical, the mystical, intuitive, soul aspect of living that expands my consciousness and deepens my days. I pledge allegiance to actions that fulfill the greatest good for all. By becoming a gatekeeper of compassion, tolerance, and love, I move into a fuller conviction of pure intent with regard to the words that I speak, and the choices that I make. I pursue a win-win in all activities of life. I pledge allegiance to those who have gone before me, the ancestral lineage whose courage, sacrifice, and conviction still live in my bones. I honor the privileges given to me today because of the sweat from their pioneering efforts and the fortitude of their convictions. I give thanks for my responsibility in creating the same for future generations. I pledge allegiance to a love that has no agenda. I no longer choose to give for what I might get, to manipulate in order to control, to abandon before I can be abandoned, to tolerate because there are seemingly no other options. I choose to love as a way of being. I am content in my choice whether outside circumstances respond or not. In being loved, I create fulfillment above and beyond what the human condition can provide. I pledge allegiance to the sacredness of laughter, knowing that the greatest healing force that exists reverberates from the vibration of this holy and irreplaceable gift. I allow humor, joy, and eruptions of laughter to make their home in my heart. I let my physical body respond to the sacred stimulus and biological wonder that laughter creates, and vow to keep this attribute alive and thriving all the days of my life.
Awesome.
My goodness, I'm all full up. Might as well go home. That was great, Pat. The video that you shared with us is wonderful. And Lo, we love that you surprise us all the time. Now, I'm sitting down because last week I came in, I had a really bruised ankle, still do, but not as much. And some people that really care for me made sure that I had a place to sit so I didn't have to stand, because they didn't want me to hurt. Well, then I got some feedback that said they really liked when I sat down and talked, and so we're going to try it, and I'd love to have your feedback. Is this more comfortable to you? Is it, feel not like a service, or just give me the thing. And yes, I have a tendency to do this, and just think of it as a little girl in me, and don't worry about it. Several weeks ago, we had a visitor, and after the service, I was talking to him, and he's visiting all the metaphysical groups in our area and trying to decide where he wants to be. And he's a very nice man, and he said that there were some things he really wanted to hear someone speak about. And one of the things that he mentioned was present versus presence. Now, I love it when people give me talk titles or give me subjects that they would like for me to expand on, because it's a lot of fun to take a title and see what it says to me, and see what I do with it. And this is probably not what he thinks about this, but it doesn't matter. I got the title and I went with it. And so that's why we're talking about present and presence today. To be present, we all know what that means. You're in this room, so you are present in this room. And you get the opportunity to also be present in your life. There's a story about Ted and Joe, and they were on the platform waiting for the train that would take them home late Friday after they had been working. And it was in New York, and they were all dressed in the really nice suits, and they had briefcases, both of them, and you just thought they were Wall Street guys. That's how they looked. And you looking at them and the way they were dressed and all, you thought their lives are very similar. But if you got closer, you found that wasn't necessarily true. Joe had been born into money, and he was really committed to not losing any of it, but gaining more of it. And so he worked really hard, and he wanted to maintain or increase his family's lifestyle. And so on the way home, he had his phone out, and he was checking the stock market. And he was checking his stocks and what had they done that day. And he spent the entire ride home checking things for the stock market. He had 3 emails from his wife, but he never noticed those. He looked at other things, but he didn't look at the ones from her. So he didn't see the picture of a young boy hanging upside down from a monkey bar, just laughing like crazy. And he didn't get the picture of his little older girl who was in her leotards and tights and all of that, and coming out of the dance studio all pretty in pink. And he didn't get the message from his wife reminding him that they had a commitment that night to go in support of the school for both kids. So Ted, who also was in a nice suit, he was also on his phone. He was on his phone the whole time going on. But he was talking to his wife. And he was getting information about what the kids had done and what she had done during the day and what they were going to do that night. And he told her, I go by the homeless shelter, and I'll be there about an hour, and then I'll be on home, and I'll buy ice cream, and we'll have movie night with the kids. And she was like very happy about that, and he was too. And he did. He stopped at the homeless shelter, and he went in and he served food. He went there every week. He spent at least an hour there every week, helping in some way. A lot of times it was serving food, but it was also talking to guys that were there and whatever needed to be done. And he also gave of his money to them to support them. And the reason that this meant so much to him was that many years ago, before he had married and before he had become successful, he had a week where he was homeless, where he had no place to stay, and he wasn't sure where his next meal was coming from. And this homeless shelter gave him a place to be. It gave him people who supported him and wanted to help him, and it gave him food for his stomach and a place to lay his head that night. And so in that experience, he said, I will never stop giving back to this shelter and other things like it that support people when they're down and out. And so he did every week, and it was part of who he was. Now, being present in your life is being aware of what's happening around you. Now, Joe was aware of the stock market, but not of his family. He really didn't, they were just part of, and when he gave to charity, he always did it at a gala. He and his wife would get all dressed up and go to the gala where they were raising money for this or that, because it was also a networking thing for him. And he wanted to network and be seen, and so that's how he gave of his money. He didn't give his time at all. And so I would submit that he was not present in his own life. He really was not seeing what was right around him. He was not in that place to see what he was doing and what was happening around him. Whereas Ted was. He was aware of what he was doing. He was aware of his family. He was aware of other things. He actually worked with politicians to try to increase the programs that would help others and make it more fair, jobs and pay and all those kinds of things that would make life better for other people. So the question comes, are you present in your life? I was looking through some things, and the title of a video came up, and it is, "The most important thing in life is not being dead." That made me laugh, and I was really curious about it. It was on Amazon Prime, and it's a video. So Bob watched it with me. I cannot tell you what that movie was about. I got off it and I said, "Did you understand that, Bob?" He said, No, I didn't. I really didn't either. It was a very interesting movie, but I loved the title. So I took the title because it just so spoke to me that the most important thing in life is not being dead. And being dead is being unaware. It's being not in the moment, but being somewhere else. We have a lot of distractions in our lives. And some of the distractions are what has happened to us. And so we spend a lot of energy thinking about this grudge or that grudge or who this was and how this happened and what this meant and all that stuff. And that's a distraction from the present moment. And some of us live more in the future. We worry about what's going to happen. Is our money going to increase or decrease? Are we going to have this kind of life to live or that kind of life? Is this person going to be nice to me or not nice to me? All of that stuff. And we're worrying about what's happening, coming up, versus being present in our own lives. And so to think about, am I being present? And I really thought about that because most of us go through life on autopilot. We go to the grocery store, we do this, we do that, but we don't really think about it. So I went outside and sat outside on my patio and really tried to see my backyard. It's got a lot of plants in it, and it's got a lot of different views in it, and to really see it. I always appreciate it, but I don't always stop and look. And of course, I see the weeds, and I think, oh, I got to weed, that kind of thing. Or I got to hire someone to weed. I don't do a very good job of weeding anymore. But then I also look at things that are blooming and things that have come and gone. My hostas are huge, and they are past. They've bloomed, and now they're, just a shrub that needs their dead blooms cut out. So, but to be aware that this is your life. And if you are dead to it, if you are uninterested, if you are unable to see it, to appreciate it, to bring it into the present moment for yourself, then you're not living life. You're just getting through. You're just existing. And so pick a place where you feel like you're not giving it your full attention and see what you can do about doing that very thing. giving at least one area in your life full attention. Maybe it's your puppies, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your children, maybe it's your backyard. Maybe it's, I've been in grocery stores and people have come up to me and said, "Oh, you didn't even wave at me. We saw each other." I'm not looking around for people I know. I'm trying to figure out which are the best tomatoes, which ones will Bob like. Hey, it's a big decision sometimes. So I'm worried about that. So I'm focused right here where I need to broaden my focus to let other things come into my life and be there. Now, present versus presence. What do you think presence means to you? What is it to be a presence? Years ago, when I was still an Episcopalian, I learned this song, and I loved it then and I love it now. We'll see how well it goes. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. I can feel the rush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. It just has spoken to me ever since I first learned it. And why is it that I wait oftentimes until a song comes up or something comes up to really pay attention to the presence that's always there? The Spirit is always with us, and it is always a presence. A presence, to me, speaks more of power and focus and emanating something. Have you ever been in a room and someone walked in and you went, "Whoa, that's a powerful person"? You didn't know anything about them, but you just knew when they walked into that room that there was something about them. Sometimes you don't like what's about them. You're like, "Well, I'm staying away from that guy." But a lot of times it's like, wow, they have a lot of power. They have a real presence about them. They're exuding their essence. And so the Spirit is always doing that very thing for us. It's always there. It's never gone away. It's up to us to invite it, to see it, and to open ourselves to it. And so we get that opportunity. In meditation, we get the opportunity to be present to the presence. We get the opportunity to open ourselves to see more than what we can see with our eyes, and to feel it more than we can feel it with our hands, but to see it with our hearts, to see it with our souls, to see it with our essence, to feel it in all those ways. And to know that the presence of the Lord, which Lord, when translated in metaphysical terms, is the Spirit here on this planet in each of us. Because even in metaphysics, there's still three. We still think of it as three different entities that are one. And so that Lord stands for that. I say that because sometimes people get hung up with words. We use God around here, but we don't use it too much because some people get hung up on that. They want to see the Spirit, the presence, in a different way. So, I'm going to read a quote from Ernest Holmes. God is a universal presence, an impersonal observer, a divine and impartial giver, forever pouring itself into its creation. So God is a universal presence. You know it when you feel it. I went from being Episcopalian to being evangelical for a while. And I know it was because of the way they sing. When they sing, oh my Lordy, they sing with such openness and such heart, and the words are so precious, and it's just, the energy is incredible. And I would, I think that's really why I went, because it was a way to get in touch with what was happening in my life and to get in touch with Spirit on a new level. So it is a presence. It's an impersonal observer. I hear people say, oh, God wouldn't like that. That's not pleasing to God. Oh, that's pleasing to God. God doesn't really have I'm happy with you. It just is accepting of you and loving of you, just whatever you decide to do. And so it doesn't judge you as good or bad or doing right things or wrong things. It doesn't judge at all. It just welcomes you into its presence. And it is a divine and impartial giver. It gives to every one of us everything that it is. And so if you ask it for comfort, comfort will come if you open to it. If you ask it for encouragement and you open to be encouraged, you'll see the encouragement come to you. If you ask it for health or wealth or whatever that might be, then it will come because the givingness of Spirit is complete. It has no ability or desire to say no. Okay? And it is pouring itself into its creation all the time. We talked last week about how we are like God, and in being creative is one of the strongest ways that we are like Spirit. And so that brings us to that. So in present versus presence, you can be present to a lot of different things, to your life, to Spirit, to your feelings, to your desires, to all of those different things, to the people around you. You can be present to them and share with them. And you can be a presence. There is a scripture in the Bible that I've never found again, and it may have been the translation I was reading, but it basically said Christians should have an odor about them. They should kind of stink. So that when they came into a room of people would say, oh, there's a Christian in here. So we would have a distinctness, all right? And we do have a distinctness. Sometimes we hold it back. But if we share it, if we open it, then we too are someone who walks into a room and others say, ooh, wow, ooh, I think I'd like to get to know her. I think he is someone that, yeah, I'd like to know more about them. And it'll be you that they're talking about because you have allowed the depth of your essence to be presence in all that you do. This, I'm not going to pronounce the name of this guy. He was in 1500 when he wrote all this stuff. And, I know I can't pronounce that name where it's anywhere near. I will try to look it up and see if I can get it in phonics for me. But he was one of those that in the Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, they quote this guy. So he had such basic truth and such basic ways of sharing that all three of the major religions looked to him for guidance, looked to him for inspiration. Maimonides. What?
Maimonides.
Okay, what he said. Okay.
I don't know, but all those M's in the word would make that person very hard working.
Oh yes, he was one of those people that didn't sleep much and was considered a heretic in his own time by some. So those are usually good ones. When the people that are around them are calling them heretics, they're probably really sharing truth. All right. At times the truth shines so brilliantly that we perceive it as clear as day. Our nature and habit then draw a veil over our perception, and we return to a darkness almost as dense as before. We are like those who, though beholding frequent flashes of lightning, still find themselves in the thickest, darkest of the night. You know, if you go on a retreat and you get inspired and you just know, and you just want to take it with you, and a week later you look up and you think, oh man, I don't have it. It was wonderful, and it sort of dissipated. It doesn't have to, but you do need to remind yourself of what it was and how it felt, so that it will stay with you longer. That feeling of oneness, of getting it, of being cared for and loved and precious. All right. Our meditation song, our meditation. And meditation, as I said earlier, this is a chance for you to open up to the very presence of the One. It's there always. And we have the choice to open up. So in meditation, I invite you to get comfortable. It helps sometimes to put your hands in your lap and your feet on the floor. And breathe. The breath is the most settling thing you can do. A deep, slow breath will quiet your heart. Your heart rate goes down. Your mind settles down some. Our minds are very, very busy. But we do our best to give them a little vacation while we meditate. We don't try to control them. We just don't pay attention to all the things it's saying. And we focus right here, right now, this present moment, knowing that the presence of the I Am is right here and right now and always awaiting our invitation. And so we breathe. Letting our bodies settle. Letting our awareness become more focused. Letting the past go and leaving the future to the future. We are in this moment, this present moment. You might have a question that you want to ask. And then listen. Taking a deep breath, we think of the things that we are grateful for in this very present moment. I am grateful for the music that helps me to focus and be in this present moment. I'm grateful to share this time of quiet with these other beings. I am grateful for knowing and experiencing that Spirit is right here, right now. And with deep gratitude and joyful expectation, I let it be. I call this time done. I call it good, for I know that it is. And together we seal it with the words, and so it is.
Be grateful to accept your offer during this time of remembering the law of giving and receiving. If you choose to tithe with us today or make an offering, we will use it for the good of the sinner and our highest good of all our neighbors. Thank you. Let's say our prosperity affirmation together. In the wake of generosity and gratitude, good turns into grace, and more comes to me. Yes.
We are grateful for our tithes and offerings. We accept them with great joy, knowing that as we accept them with great joy and we give with great joy, then it just starts this cycle of joy and money and prosperity and taking care of and all those things. And so with a smile, we say, it is good. And so it is. Okay. We have the prayer box, and this is a really good way to move to the next thing. The presence of Spirit is in this place, for we are gathered. We are gathered to know more, to share, to grow, and to see the truth. And so as we gather here today and we recognize the presence, we invite it into our lives in ways that we can see. We know that as the Spirit is wholeness, is balance, is wisdom, is joy, we are too. And so we release into our experiences balance. Balance to take care of ourselves and to let others walk their journey. Balance to know that whatever we are concerned about will work out. Wisdom tells us that as we move forward with awareness of Spirit, all things come together for our good. And so we are grateful for that. We are grateful for the joy that fills our lives. We are grateful for each other. And we are grateful for the opportunity to share. We release it into the law, which always says yes, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is good, and together, and so it is. Going forth song. Everybody stand up. I knew it was a song. Some are more in tune with energies in a room and energies in other people. Some people see auras and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what each and every one of us does, but in our going forth, we are going to spend just a minute or two, and we're going to send out what we think of as one of our gifts, and we're going to open up to receive gifts from others. And if you that's what we're going to do. Everybody got it? All right, so now we're sending out.
I'm emanating here.
I haven't said which gift I'm sending out yet.
Oh, okay.
Don't pick and choose, just send them all.
No, you got to send one.
What?
Well, I just have to think about it for a minute.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, send it out. breathe the essence of it and share it with the rest of us. And now open yourself to receive whatever it is your special gift this morning. You can send, you can receive, and you can know. And as Constance said, you can hug yourself, which is a blessing. And so we go forth rejoicing in each other, rejoicing in the Spirit, knowing that it is all ours to see, to behold, and to express. So we go forth in joy and laughter. And so it is.
And there's oranges on the back table for anyone who could like a nice little snack.
You might.